Welcome everyone to a new gameplay series on Factorio. This will be the second iteration of my beginner's guide. So this tutorial series will basically be taking us from the start of the game through oil processing for sure this time, and I also plan to use rails. Let's actually do a little demonstration of how to use trains. So for that I'm going to choose Rail World, and I've already scanned a few map seeds and I picked 321 as the best one for us, as in 321, let's go. Now, if you are totally new to Factorio, I do recommend that you go back to my version 14 beginner's guide. I'll have a link to that in the description, and just watch the first maybe 10-15 minutes of that video until I get to steam power, because steam power has changed, so we'll be covering that in depth, but I'm not going to be covering some of the more basic things like how to transfer items, how to quickly, like, control left click grabs all of a stack, control right click grabs half a stack. Those kind of things, if you already know them, you're totally okay. You're in a good spot for watching this series. But if those are like news to you, you might pick up a few other good pointers by watching just the first 15-20 minutes of the episode 1 of the previous guide. Now, the first thing I'd like to do when we get in here is take a look at the map and start looking around, figuring out where things are going to go. We're going to plan. So, and the first thing I do when we load into the game is, build a pickaxe and then look for the nearest iron deposit, go to that. We drop this after getting a little bit of wood so that we can actually supply our burner mining drill and our stone furnace. But now that we have those going, while they're busy making iron, let's take a look at the map. So this is like really a good map. I'm like very happy with it. This is the kind of map that I would use for a personal playthrough and be so excited about it. The main things I look for when I load up a new map are, is there coal nearby iron and copper? And what's even better is if the coal is a little bit, this is like the perfect configuration, this kind of like triangle, very flat triangle, because we're going to want smelting centers that have inputs from one side of both iron and coal, and then they feed their output, like down here let's say, is going to be the iron plate. And if you have the copper on this right side or left side, doesn't matter, on one side and the iron on the other side, and the coal is on the top in the middle of those two, this coal can very easily run to all the smelting centers, and then since both of these will feed in from here and we'll be going from top to bottom, it's really natural to have our main bus head towards the bottom of the map. Now, we'll be doing a little bit more of the detailed planning later. Another thing we want to look for is having a source of water near the coal, and we have that here as well, which means that we're going to go ahead and click here and make this our steam power. And I'll use this icon. And next we're going to choose, well, we already know that this is going to be our iron smelting. We'll choose the iron plate for that. And over here we will have our copper smelting. So just to start lining up things on the map, give us some organization. People talk about like spaghetti factories, where they talk about factories that are not very well organized. By the way, one other thing, just in case you didn't notice, we have stone up here. And that's actually our next stop, because we want we're going to have to get more stone to build more burning mining drills and stone furnaces. Actually, we need just stone furnaces, but a burning mining drill actually requires one stone furnace. So we'll just chop these trees on the way to have enough fuel to power our burning mining drill. Oh, no, I forgot to actually pick up the iron. Oh boy. This is the kind of things that I almost feel I should edit out, but I might leave in. If it's only like 10 seconds like that, that's fine. But I really want to make this series like as dynamic, as streamlined, I should say, not dynamic, as streamlined as possible, so that we don't waste any time. You guys quickly see the concepts. So now we just need to mine 5 stone, and then we will have ourselves enough for a stone furnace, and then, like I said, the burning mine drill. Just in case you forgot, the bottom of the pop-up tab shows you the total you need. So we need 5 stone and 9 iron. So we have enough for one more of these. We're also going to get a wooden chest so that it can dump its contents into that. Now we'll supply the rest of the wood. And one thing I'm noticing is that we don't have our advanced overlay on. This is probably the most important tool, and most people know about it, so it's not going to come as a surprise to most people, but if you press Alt, it actually shows you the internal contents of various containers, which is extremely useful, especially later on when we get to what are they called? Automation centers? I can't remember the name, but you'll want to know what each of those is actually producing, and having this Alt layer on is the way to do that. So we want a lot of stone, preferably about 20, so that we can get 4 more burner mining drills. And there's an exact reason for that, which I'll show you now. And we have plenty. Okay, good. So let's get these going. And we're going to start next on coal. So this is my normal order of operations. Get iron up, look at the map, get some stone, and then go and dump all these onto coal. We're going to do this nice circular configuration. All you need to do is pop this in and out, get it started. I'll pop in the opposite corner as well. And now this little loop is going to feed itself. This only works with coal because the item that we're mining also happens to be the burning mining drill's fuel supply. So we're actually feeding the ore into the fuel supply. Obviously this doesn't work with iron or copper or anything like that, but it really works really well for coal. So this is going to be the way we continue to have a nice high coal reserve. The next thing we're going to want is, hopefully we have enough iron plate here, and now we have to go back up and get some more stone. We're going to want 3 more burning mining drill plus stone furnace, which I'm just going to call smelting combos. We're going to want 3 more smelting combos. And yeah, because we're going to need, it looks like just in time, and just in time there as well. In fact, I'm going to take out maybe 3. The burning mine drills use fuel supplies much faster than the stone furnaces. So usually it's to your advantage to supply the burning mine drills with a lot more fuel. Okay, I'll just add a little bit more of that. We really don't need the wood for anything but electric poles. So we can use that as a fuel supply pretty liberally. Okay, we have plenty now, so let's go ahead and get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Which is going to give us another 3 smelting combos. Is that what I called them? Something like that. Okay, and then like that. Now this is where we really need that coal. And this is the beginning part of the game. You're going to be doing a lot of running back and forth. The closer these items are together, the better for you, but this is not so bad, I would say. This isn't pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to do this manually. There we go. So that should be enough to last us for a while. Now let's go ahead and get our copper up and running. Copper is the least important of your initial materials. Even stone is more important than copper at first. Why did I go here? Oh yeah, because we actually do need 1, 2, 1, 2, 4 total. So I'm only going to get 2 of the smelting combos up for copper, because the only thing we actually need it for is this offshore pump. Now actually we do need it for some of the inserters, but we're actually going to use a burner inserter for our very first steam power boiler. That's just going to be because if we happen to run out of power in the future, the inserters won't be able to actually kickstart the power, since they need power themselves to function. But the burner inserter, since it functions off of coal, all it needs is any coal down the line, and it'll put it into the steam power supplies boiler, and that will jumpstart nicely the power process again. This is not extremely well distributed. There we go. Alright, so we have probably enough copper, I think, with just that one click, yep, to get our offshore pump. Our goal, okay, so I didn't talk about our goal. Our goal is to get steam power up first. After that, we want to set up electric mining drills on the iron deposit, and then set up iron smelting, so a smelting center. Now, the best way of doing things in Factorio is leaving everything modular. This is a good example of not modular. You can see that my iron mining is like intimately connected with my smelting. It's better to separate these two processes. It's good to have electric, well, it doesn't have to be electric, but it will in our case, any kind of iron mining here, and have that feed by transport belt to smelting centers. The reason why this is important is because eventually this will dry up, and we don't want our smelting centers dependent on this exact iron ore deposit. And then when we feed in, for example, from this massive iron ore deposit, which I plan to do by train just to showcase that, it doesn't matter. We can do that. We can just bring it over by train and ferry it into the iron smelting, so long as the iron smelting is just its own independent beast that accepts iron. We just need a system for iron smelting to accept iron. As long as it's not tied to an iron ore, then we can just have a train station supply it as well. Okay, so what are we up to? Really what we need is a boiler, 2 steam engines, but I'm going to make quite a few boilers because I like to get 4 up and running at first. Probably it's going to be very soon time for us to replenish our coal supply of iron. But for the meantime, looks like we actually do need a little more copper for some inserters. I might as well run over and grab some. How are we doing? I'm going to look on the right panel here. You can see 3, 4, 16, 14 for my coal. That's what I was looking at. How much coal do they have left? And that's definitely more than enough. I think we're going to save... Okay, let me just drop in a few more on all these. Because most of this coal I want to save for my iron. This might be the last loop we need to do before we actually go up and drop in our water pump and get that supplying. There it is, right on cue. Okay, it's hard to... No. That's fine. Okay, that should be... Oh, nope, not enough there. Okay, something like that. I think that's going to be functional. Let's get the remaining iron. That's quite a lot. We need a lot of transport belt. And the last thing we're going to need, of course, is the electric poles to actually connect. Now, I'm going to grab... interesting. We don't have any... Let's just get some trees to start mining here. You as well. Okay, that's 12 trees. And we'll take the stone where it is right now. And since we're just walking in this direction, might as well pick up those trees. Okay, now time to actually set up our power. Oh, and I see I've forgotten we need probably not that many of those, just 2. And then we're going to need a couple pipes. Actually, we need 2 of these and then a couple more pipes. Because those will take the pipes we just produced, I think. Alright, let's go. So we want to drag this out 1 just so that... I always like to do this. It's like a tie over from the days of the 14 tiny boilers and the 10 steam engines, but we're still doing it this way. It's not necessary anymore. So we want 1 on this side, then we want to jump, leave 1 space, jump on the other side, grab our other pipe. So what we're going to do is have boilers on both sides and transport belt running up the middle with 1 space on either side, which you probably can guess is for our inserters. So this line is, well, I don't think it's going to make it. We'll see. But it's supposed to go all the way to, well, it did make it. Fantastic. All the way to our coal supply. So the coal supply will run up here and then be fed into the boilers by these inserters. And this is the our savior in times of where we run out of power. This is the one that's going to jumpstart us by once again feeding the boiler. And that will once again provide power to our steam engines. Okay, so this is now done, except for we need power supply. And I like to run this like so. And then we go as far as we can, and at the very last. Okay. The reason why I like this configuration is because it is in some ways optimal in terms of at least electric power pole usage. And we're only using the small electric poles, and it will get the job done completely. So I like it for this. If you don't really understand why it's optimal, it doesn't matter at all. It's not people. This is kind of like people have all their own flavor of design. It doesn't really matter as long as it's. I mean, there's cases where you want to be really efficient, like I think with science production, stuff like that. But you can't really. I mean, unless you're doing something horribly wrong, your steam power, if it looks anything like this, is going to be fine. So some people put their electric poles on the outside over here. I put it in the middle because it does save one line of poles. Anyway, doesn't matter, right? So we need one more pipe, which we have. And then technically our next line of boilers is going to go here. But I'll put this one down, but actually the next one's going to go 1, 2, and then we leave a space, 1, 2. Then we leave a space, and you can see where the spaces are. That's where our electric poles are. So it's the maximum distance happens to be exactly the distance we need between two steam engines. But I don't have those made yet because we don't have enough iron. And now we're very close, at 16 minutes in this video, we're very close to getting automatic power up and running. We just need some more electric mining drills. I'm gonna go over here. Probably should grab, yeah, we can see that these aren't doing anything. That means that they each have 50 coal. Let's grab that. How are we doing on coal here? 3, 5, yeah, we're getting very, very, very low. I think again, I'll just manually add some to this, just by right-clicking on it. Because we don't need too much, and I think I'm gonna need it for iron soon. Not yet, but soon. And now we're gonna drop our electric mining drills. So there's no power yet. I think I'll do 1, 2, 3, and we need one more just for symmetry. Come on. There it is. Okay. Now let's go ahead and get this started. And we do that just by add a little bit of coal to get the line started. We should see coal now being produced, or well, mined, dumped onto the transport belt by these. And now this is our new steam power setup. So instead of having to worry about 13, 14 boilers, whatever, it's really basic. It's just 1 boiler, 2 steam engines. And I like to do a line of 1, and then power lines, and then 2, and then power lines, then 2, then power lines, and finish it with just a 1 again. So really what the root, let's see, I will build 2 more. The root unit for my power is actually a box that goes like this. This is my box. That's my box, which will make more sense probably when I drop these. So there it is. I like to just group it. Even though there's going to be another steam engine right here, I consider that part of the next unit. So I don't know if that made sense. It doesn't really matter, but that's what we're going to look like. We're going to do 1, and then 2, 2, 2, leave a space, 2, leave a space, 2, leave a space, and then finally at the very bottom we'll just do 1 again. Okay, these are missing something, right? What might that be? Some inserters, which might take just a fraction of a moment to make. But once these are up and running, I think we're ready to call this first episode to a close. So the second episode, what are we going to do? Well, first let's review what we did in this episode, just very briefly. We started off, we cut down some trees, set up our iron smelting. Then there was only 1 at the time. Then we went up to get stone going, which I see that we also need to get stone going now. It's out of power. I'm just going to add coal to all these things. Should be enough for now. Go grab more coal, feed the stone. Okay, so after that, we got our coal set up. And you can see why it was important to get this up nice and early, because everything needs some kind of power. And if you just tried to rely on cutting down trees, you would be cutting down trees slower than the actual power needs of all these smelting combos. So after that, we got our copper set up, and well, I should say we first expanded our iron, and then we got our copper set up. And then we started just jumping back and forth, making sure everything had fuel, and then continuing to gather a bunch of iron. We were able to slowly build up the materials we needed to get steam power set up. And now we have steam power set up. Okay, so what's up next? We're going to fill this. We're going to first cut down these trees, and then we're going to fill this with electric mining drills. We'll probably do the same with copper over here. And then we're going to get our smelting center set up. But what's also important is I didn't discuss this in my last series, and I think this is incredibly useful in version 15. We have to talk about blueprints, which is going to be, especially if you're following this guide, if you're not really sure what are some good layouts to do. We're going to talk about using blueprints so that if you just put it down in your game anywhere, you can then take it over to any other game you play. I mean, you can take it onto a multiplayer server if you'd like. So I think blueprints, talking about how to use those, how to make them, stuff like this, it's going to be really important, so we'll also do that in episode 2. So episode 2 we'll be getting smelting up and then talking about blueprints. So that's going to conclude this video. I'll try to keep them short and sweet and as concise as possible. Because this is the first episode in a series, I would greatly appreciate it if you wouldn't mind pressing the like button, pushing the thumbs up. That's just what I'll ask only on the first video, and I won't ask again. But even if you don't, I hope you're enjoying the series. I hope it's helpful for you. The first one was actually a much bigger success than I expected. So I'll put in the same time and energy to try to make this one successful. This was take number 10. I have 9 recordings of 20 to 30 minutes that I had to dump that they didn't meet my quality control. They didn't make the cut. So anyways, thanks again for watching, and until the next episode, take care.